Hello everybody and welcome to yet another IL-2 Sturmweg Battle of Stalingrad Early Access Phase video. Since the last video I made, two major additions have been made to the game, one of which is the addition of another flyable, on the red side the Yakovlev Yak-1 fighter, and on the other hand we have now access to the multiplayer, as you can see here. Currently there's 8 servers, about 4 in the European region and 4 in the US. Back when the multiplayer was first started on day 1, there were only 4 servers available, but there were huge stability issues concerning the servers, so the server number had to be increased, and also the player per server number was decreased. So right now the player limit is 25 per server. By the way, this is a pre-recorded video, so I'm just making a voiceover and will talk you through the action. On this map, you can see near the front line there's an airfield for each side. They are very closely spaced together, which will make for some interesting scenarios later on. There's 2 aircraft per side. The Germans get to choose from the Messerschmitt Bf-109F4 and the U-87 Stuka, while the Reds can either take a Lag-3 or the IL-2 Sturmweg. As I've said, the Yak-1 is now available, but for some reason it is not included in the multiplayer just yet, although I think it would be a much better match for the Bf-109F, because the Lag-3 doesn't really stand much of a chance. You can kill a 109 if you surprise him from above by diving on him, but if he spots you and evades, there is pretty much nothing you can do, because the 109 is faster, it climbs better and it turns better as well. By the way, as you can see, this is one of the expert servers. There's 2 different kinds of servers about, the light and the expert servers. The light servers have icons and external views enabled, whereas the expert servers are pretty much full real, as you would expect coming from IL-2 Cliffs of Dover. So there are no icons and no external views, so you have to make out contacts using your sight, and you also have to identify planes before you attack, but that's pretty easy by just zooming in on them. But having said that, and this being a relatively new flight sims, of course there are some very green pilots about, and you really have to be careful online, because I've had it happen to me quite a few times that friendly aircraft would be coming straight for me very aggressively, taking me for an enemy, and one such pilot even came racing towards me with his 109, packing the 20mm underwing gondolas, and he actually opened fire while he passed, but fortunately for me he was a pretty bad shot and missed all of his rounds. What you could just saw, there is a dogfight right in front of us at 2000 meters, which is quite uncommon on the servers from what I've seen so far. Most of the action really takes place at low altitude near the deck. Nobody really bothers climbing to any height, but I usually prefer to make some altitude before I go in. So I take a shot at the Lag-3 here. I'm not entirely sure if he took any damage. He was smoking earlier, but now he stopped smoking. Don't know what that is about. Setting up behind him again to set up for a deflection shot. And I get a nice burst into him. By the way, the choppiness of the video is not really related to my system. but this is still part of the stability, or the lack of it, of the Battle of Stalingrad online multiplayer servers. Okay, so the Lag 3 just crashed. Unfortunately, no explosion of any kind, which is weird. Sometimes you get a proper explosion, and sometimes it just seems like the aircraft disappears in the snow entirely. By the way, what is also noteworthy is that the engine management is very tight. So, as is currently the case, you cannot fly your aircraft at full power for more than like a minute, otherwise you will suffer permanent engine damage. I'm not sure how historic that is, but I would guess that that is quite a bit over the top, especially even if you are not flying exactly at full throttle, but like 2500 RPM. So in a 109F4, full power translates to 1.42 ATA and 2700 RPM, and even if you fly at what is supposed to be continuous power or extended combat power, the 30-minute rating, 1.3 ATA and 2500 RPM, you will suffer engine damage. You have to really throttle down to a very, very low setting. Oh, so just in front of us there's 4 contacts, a pair of IL-2s flying about on the way to our airfield for some strafing. So at this point I just decided that I wanted to spoil their fun and go for one or the other. But as you probably know, the IL-2 is a very tough bird. So I'm coming in behind this IL-2, which seems to be equipped with the 37mm SH-37 cannons. I put in a nice burst into him, he's smoking. And I'm coming in to spoil his fun some more. Another 109 takes a shot at him. Quite a few hits. The IL-2 is still up. The IL-2 fires off burst there. Maybe he's got his controls damaged, because that was not really an aimed burst, just some kind of half-assed shooting. Got even more rounds into him, but he's still flying, so yeah. The IL-2 is a very tough plane. Yeah, he's now trailing a white vapor line, which is probably the water radiator, the glycol escaping. I can get a proper angle here, which is mostly due to the fact that the rudder is acting kind of very different to what I am accustomed to in IL-2 Cliffs of Dover. And the IL-2 touches down. I think his engine died on him. And there the IL-2 just disappeared. Which is kind of sad, because if you see an aircraft going into the ground, you really anticipate seeing him go up in flames. We have a contact coming in, Lag 3. Almost stalled out. I evade his initial gun pass. He cannot pull in a fleet, that was quite dangerous right there. But now we are out of harm's way and on the offensive. He's quite some distance out, but I'm trying to get enough lead on him, and now that I've got him in my sights, there is pretty much nothing he can do, especially not in the Lag 3. one cannon hit there. Another hit. And we set him on fire. Oh, there's a friendly just crossing our path, and another shot at him. What that should do. I think he's had enough. And there he's going down. And actually the pilot bay there, you can see him hanging in his chute right there. One of them coming in at me, that is exactly what I was talking about earlier. He was actually pulling deflection on me here. Fortunately he did not pull the trigger. And there's another IL-2 strafing the airfield. I think he's going for the AAA, yeah, he's going for a AAA gun. Get in a burst, he's smoking. And another 109 with some gun parts. Hits him as well, he goes into a spin. Another 109 puts some shots into him, and I don't think he's going to recover from that, no. He just ripped his wing off on the pullout. Seems like he took some damage in his wings, and when he tried to pull out, they just ripped clean off. So at this point I decided to come in for a landing because I don't think I have much ammunition left. By the way, that black window just now, that was the score table. So as said, it doesn't really work at the moment. All you see is basically just a black window with no info whatsoever. The landings in IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad are still very, how to say, well, interesting. Especially compared to IL-2 Cliffs of Dover, the aircraft, especially the 109, feel very bouncy. Especially the 109, it feels like a rubber ball. Yeah, just look at this. Touchdown. It wasn't very hard touchdown, and the aircraft bounced like a rubber ball. And you can see I probably flew the aircraft at full power for too long because the engine is creating some sort of black smoke. And switching off. But unfortunately, as the airfields are very closely spaced together, you can see an IL-2 coming in for me. Unfortunately, I have to wait 10 seconds to get out of the mission, and that's not enough to get out of harm's way. And now I'm burning on the ground. A disgraceful end. So, going up for another flight. There is some kind of death penalty. So if you die, I think there's like a 20-second delay before you can join again. But now we are back in the 109 and ready to take off. And I want to take some sweet revenge on the IL-2, which certainly still is around the airfield somewhere. So we are airborne. Wow, what happened there? I think the IL-2 must have dropped a bomb. The IL-2 is right in front of us. Now that we are up in the air and safe, there is nothing he can do. He's dropping another bomb. But now he's mine. He's in a shallow left turn and provides a perfect target. Another freeze. And he crashes. Oh, and we've got a log 3 on us. Just have to make sure that the log 3 doesn't get enough lead on us. Some random 109 just pulled his wing off, and the first aircraft explosion on the ground in this flight. I don't know what the 109 was doing there. It just whizzed past, missing one wing. So, we've avoided the log 3. He's up in front of us. And he's making a mistake here. He turns around and pulls up, reducing his speed significantly. And I can't pull lead on him, and I set him on fire right away. And another IL-2. Just hanging in the air, waiting for its demise. And an IL-2 on fire. That's not a very frequent sight, but the underside of the IL-2 is definitely one of its weak points. So if you can get a shot in from below into the radiator or the engine compartment, it's going to go down pretty quickly. And as you can see there, the engine is already pouring black smoke. That is because I was flying at full power for too long, but there was pretty much no other way to it. I mean, I could have throttled down, but maybe I would have been shot down then. So I'd rather take a damaged or wasted engine rather than being shot down in flames any day of the week. Some friendlies about. Where did that log 3 go? There definitely was a log 3 around. Oh, there it is. And it's already being chased by an angry pack of 109s. I don't think it's going to end well for the log 3. I take a high deflection shot and I hit him. And he's going down completely out of control. No explosion. That is kind of an immersion killer if you see an aircraft just, instead of blowing up, just disappear in like a little squirt of snow. But I hope that's going to be finished for the final game. Okay, so this is it for the multiplayer preview. I am going to make a video about the Yak-1 pretty soon, as time permits. I hope you enjoyed watching this little glimpse into the multiplayer of IL-2 BOS, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.